All right, in this video, we are going to work on the following problem. It says write a recursive method that prints the following geometric pattern. So the method is going to print a pattern that looks like this, basically a triangular looking shape made out of hashtags here. So for instance, if we have, say, like one line, basically, then it will just be a single hashtag. And for 2 lines, it would kind of look like this, and then 3 lines, it would kind of look like this. 4 lines, and so on, it would look like that. So, one thing to notice about this problem is that, say, if you wanted to do the one with 2 lines here, I notice that kind of the first part, this upper part here, is essentially what the pattern would look like for 1 line like this, and then to draw the 3-line version of it out, you would essentially have to do the version for n equals 2, right? So if you look, that's this entire pattern right here. And then same thing for the 4th one, right? If you look, right, the solution on the upper half is the entire version for n equals 3. So, and as you probably already noticed, that's a common theme kind of throughout recursion, is that you make the solution, or the thing that you have to do at one level, right, is basically doing something at a previous level and then adding a little bit more to that pattern, or revising it in some way. So to draw this 4-line version, basically we would have to draw the 3-line version and then add these 4 hashtags. And to do the 3-line version, we would essentially do the 2-line version first and then add 3 hashtags along the top, bottom. Okay, so we're just going to keep that in mind, right? And that's kind of the key to working through this problem. All right, let's take a look and start a new class. So public class hashtags and public static void main string args. All right, and then we're going to add the method, right, to print out the hashtags. So the return type on this, if we look back at the problem, then it says write a recursive method that prints the following. So basically that implies that they want the printing done by the recursive method, right? So in that case, I'm just going to make this void. It's not going to have return any value out of there. It's just going to do the printing. They might have said, they might have phrased it as returns a string that consists of that, but they didn't. Okay, so we're going to make the return type void. And for the parameter, we are going to need basically the number of lines to print the pattern. All right, so I'm just going to call that n, and obviously it should be an int in there. Okay, so next up in the recursive method, I want to talk about the base case, right? The base case is going to be this case right here, and so that is pretty straightforward, right? So we would say if n is equal to 1, then all we would need to do is to print out a single hashtag, right? And that will solve the situation. Actually, we don't even need to do system.out.println here. All we need to do is call the method hashtags from the main method. All right, and that looks good. So right now, if I switch to 2 and run this, you're going to see it does absolutely nothing, right? So we need to fix that. But the base case is taken care of. So, all right, so next up, we need to say what we're going to do if it's n is something other than 1, right? Bigger than 1 is what we really need to worry about here at first. And so so looking at that, right, we notice what we talked about here before. To do the stage at, say, n equals 4, you're going to have to perform the method at the stage n equals 3. You can see here is this entire 3-line triangular shape. It just sits at the top of the n equals 4 one. So to do that, what we would do is just do system.out. We don't even have to do that, right? All we have to do is call this method. So here is where the method calls itself, right? And so when we call it for an input of n, right, the very first thing we're going to do is do the method, right? Whatever we would do for the case of n minus 1, right? So again, just like here, if n equals 4, then we would do this n equals 3 case first, right? 1 less than that. And it would print out that shape for n equals 3. And then all we would need to do is add these down here at the bottom, okay? All right, so now adding those hashtags at the bottom, we can see in the case of n equals 4, we would add 4 hashtags. And when n is 3, we would add 3 hashtags, right? And 2, we would add 2 hashtags, and so on and so forth on the bottom. All right. So what we would do is, or one way to do that is to make a little loop for int I equals 0, I less than n, right, for this input right here. And then I plus plus. And then the thing that we would want to repeat is printing out a hashtag. Here I'm going to use print, right? That will print all of the hashtags on the same line, which is what I want, right? If I put println, it would print, you know, say if it was 4 hashtags, it would print them on 4 different lines, or 3 hashtags on 3 different lines. That's not what I want, right? At the bottom of these things, I want 4 hashtags here, 3 hashtags here, and all in the same line. All right. So let's run that and just check and see. All right, for 2 it looks okay, right? So let's try it for 3. All right, and you can see for 3 that doesn't look right at all. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 printed on the second line, when in reality I want it like this: 1 and then 2 on this line, 3 on the next line for the case n equals 3. So the problem here is that after I print, I'm using print here to print you know, however many hashtags in a row. Then because it's print, the next thing that's printed out will be on the same line as those hashtags, and I kind of want that you know, to print on the very bottom, but the issue is that each of these levels need to be on the next line. So like when I print 4 hashtags, I want all of them on a line, but these 3 I want them on a separate line than the 2 above and the 4 below, right? So it's a really easy fix, right? You would just go here and just do system.out.println, and that will print basically nothing but go to the next line. So that should do it. All right, so there is the case for n equals 3. If I go up to 4, you can see there it is for 4 and for 14. All right, so it looks good. All right, so again, just going back over this, right? The base case, n equals 1. That's easy, right? Just print out one hashtag. All right, and then the other case, when n is bigger than 1, what you want to do is, right, print out the previous version. Okay, and then, so in this case, right, I want to print out the case for n equals 3. Then this for loop adds the new row on the bottom. And then what I need to do is add this system.out.println, so each layer of the triangular shape is on its own line. Okay, and that is it for this one.